Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of Frail conversations. Today, I want to talk about King's disease. I mentioned it in the last episode, um, entrepreneur's professionalism. I believe I just mentioned it in there, and I kind of it's been heavy on my mind. I really wanted to talk about it, especially for my brothers in positions of leadership, um, positions of power. Um, so many different things. I did a jam session one time where I said these leaders got power, but they all lack strength. Um, I even made reference to that in Sofra too. Um, I was, speaking on how leaders have the power, but they don't have the strength. And Sofra too is, in that moment, that's what it caused me um, to really write that book. That book, well, I ain't gonna say it caused me to because it was already in the works, but it triggered the final moments to say, okay, you have what you need to write this part. And it was a lot of the leadership, you feel me? And in that leadership, it was like I said, they have power, but they lack strength. But even deeper than that, the leadership is tied to image more than it is substance. It starts off substance, but eventually changes. And it a lot of times develops because of King's disease. Now, King's disease, and it's like this within our community the most because it's the one I really pay attention to. You feel me? So the leaders that we had, they get caught up in the King's disease sense. And King's disease, I don't want you to think of it from the King's disease as just the gout. Like there's an actual disease called King's disease, which is, another name for gout, or the original name for gout. But that's accumulation like uric acid and all of the other shit. But that's scientific. I'm not getting into that. King's disease, as I'm referencing it in this podcast episode, is the moment when you reach a certain pinnacle, you reach a certain echelon of your standard of greatness, and you get stuck there. And it's in getting stuck there that you have to, well, you get stuck there because of the awe that you bring towards people, or the admiration that you get, you know what I mean? And it can start off very modest, you feel what I'm saying? But eventually it can transform into arrogance because it becomes repetitive. It becomes something that is continually in you, and it's something that's continually fed. And it becomes disease because it's deeper than that phrase, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Nah, King's disease is a lot harder. It's a lot more difficult than that because it's like you get caught up in a pocket of you get caught up in a pocket where you don't have to grow because the people in that space, or the like they're looking up to you, you're the top, or whatever the case may be. And in addition to that, you kind of stay there. And kind of, you do stay there, and you just filter yourself in between revolving doors that can keep you there. You feel what I'm saying? It's almost like how, musicians, artists, they they create music for a certain audience, and then they stay in that certain pocket. So when the original audience they had starts to grow and develop and mature, their content doesn't mature. You feel me? And there's so many different things. Like when King's disease hits you, when a man hits King's disease, it's because I ain't gonna say we pride ourselves, but we take a lot of fucking. I'm gonna say we pride ourselves. We pride ourselves on being dependent on. You feel me? When we should pride ourselves on being dependable, but we pride ourselves on being dependent on, being counted on, being something that people strive and aspire to be. And then when we start to find that, those people that are like that, those people that are giving everything that we're looking for as far as our mission, we want to stay there. We don't want to move too much outside of uh, the scope of where we are because we want to keep that crown on. You feel what I'm saying? We want to keep that crown on. But before I dive heavy into it, we're going to take a quick break. So before I dive heavy into it, be sure to follow me on Instagram at the Just Seen Podcast. Be sure to check out my website at iamjustseen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, sponsor, and donate to the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of your podcast. Not the episode, but the podcast itself. Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And as always, that's that for this and that's this for that. So when we return, we're going to dive into So Frail conversation, King's disease. Oh yeah, and don't forget to visit iamjustseen.com. There you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So Frail series to your library? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to learn how to master the market for series trading and investing? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit iamjustseen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit iamjustseen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit iamjustseen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at iamjustseen.com. So just take a quick peek into my world and see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it. You will never see it unless you visit iamjustseen.com. All right. Welcome back. So beginning, as I said, we got like King's disease is a moment of the mind where you reach a certain level of success or you get to a certain level of achievement and you become that motherfucker, I guess, for lack of a better term, but you become that and you sit at that pinnacle and you sit at that peak and your ego is continually fed. Now, if you listen to my previous episodes and you just understand how I get down and associate with the ego is not bad. It's also not good, but the ego is a part of you. Your ego should never be killed. It should be nourished. It should be nourished the right way because you have a healthy ego and you have an unhealthy ego, which leads me to the point of King's disease. King's disease, incidentally enough, King's disease is when your ego is filled by unhealthy things. Now, this now adds layers to the fact that too much of a good thing can be bad for you. You feel what I'm saying? When we are moving into a certain space, right, there's going to be a people that are going to be there. So things can keep you stuck, and there's going to be people that are going to be there. There's going to be like, quote unquote, a support system in that space. You dig what I mean? And when that support system is feeding you, it nourishes your ego. Now, it can start off healthy because it's developing you, but they can easily become unhealthy. You feel what I'm saying? But the ego is always going to be there. You can't kill it. You just have to master it and know how to use your healthy ego. You feel me? That's where you get the differences between arrogance and confidence. You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that. But with King's disease, you don't register that your ego is becoming unhealthy, right? And you sit in a place where there's no coming down, because there really isn't any coming down when you have people that are up where you are and looking up to you and stuff like that. And I've seen it within the conscious community, for one, a lot of, especially, you see it in every community. I'm speaking solely on conscious community because this is like a lot more relevant and a lot of people can see this, but like a lot of the leaders, the teachers, these like, you can see them now at the point suffering from King's disease. You feel me? And when you've reigned for so long, you don't know when it's time to give up the throne. Or you don't know when it's time to change thrones and, develop differently. So what you end up doing is remaining in the same pocket. And there's really no growth. You feel me? There's really no growth. But it makes you feel, but the reason why there's no growth is not because you're stuck, it's because you feel as if you don't have to grow anymore. So you kind of create a revolving cycle of things that keep you where you won't have to grow. You feel what I'm saying? Like I said, I was mentioning, you see it all the time with music. Like when we look at, I'm gonna use Wayne and Jay-Z as an example. Much respect to both rappers, artists. You feel what I'm saying? Wayne never evolved with us. And by us, I mean his audience. Like we were that, teenage, that, what is it, like 14, 15 to 25 era, that little decade of time. We were his time, and we developed and grew and matured, and he didn't. His artistry didn't. I'm not gonna say he didn't as a person, but his artistry didn't. It wasn't, you know what I mean? We knew that when we heard a Wayne track, what we were gonna get. Like ba 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 ba, you gonna get some random punchlines that aren't so random, crazy bars and flows and shit. You gonna get mixtape, you gonna get whatever. But we knew that. And so when we look at the run, I'm gonna say that the run started with Carter One, right? Roughly about. That's when he came back. He wasn't writing anymore. He was in his whole bag, and the mixtape, dedications, all that. So that era started with Carter One, right? So it's like you watch the growth. You watch the crown. You watch him develop his crown, like, going from, I'm best rapper alive. Not like we watched it. We watched the progress, but it the trajectory shot off, and then it remained. Like we kept growing, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I think I was in like the ninth grade or the 10th grade when the Carter One came out. Maybe the ninth grade. I think it was like 2004. So it's like, bam, I'm finishing high school, college, job, career, like different things, even now to entrepreneurship. I myself have evolved, so my ear palette has changed. It's not the same, right? But when we look at the audience that Wayne still has to target, or Wayne still does target, I ain't gonna say has to because I don't want to feel like he's a slave to his label and shit, but the things that he does target is like, it's the same flow. It's the same flow. Like, it's the same subject matter and everything. It's the same, like, Wayne, but it's not the same Wayne. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's one of the things that gives us, like, we be like, yo, that's not the same, but it is. The same way he was flowing and shit on a Millie, motherfucking 6 foot, 7 foot, the drought, the different, like, it's still here. He's gotten a little faster, but it's still here. And that King's disease is starting to affect them. That's starting to affect them while unaffecting him at the same time. It's real subtle. And here's why I say that, because the machine, which is the music industry, they're able to keep feeding in the pocket of time for that audience that he needs. You feel what I'm saying? Like the 17, like I said, between about 14 and 15, 14 to 25, that little era, high school, college. You feel me? That is where he's stuck. His bars, his flows keep running and repeating for that type of generation. Now, Jay-Z, on the other hand, and that's what I'm saying, like, that's when King's disease affects you, because Wayne stays stuck. He's still that Wayne. He's still that Wayne. I'm not saying he's not getting better. I'm not saying his lyrics aren't hidden still, but he's still that Wayne. It's still like this the same motherfucker. But like now when we look at Jay-Z, it's like when you look at his growth, you can tell he never succumbed to King's disease. He continued to make the music as his audience matured, as his people, as his like core grew. You feel what I'm saying? He made sure that he stayed within that core's time pocket. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, now we here. Like, okay, we talking about selling drugs, popping bottles, running the streets. Okay, cool. Then, we still doing it a little bit, but now we, doing it a little differently. Now we moving over here. Now we doing clothing, we doing business, we doing all these different things. These people are evolving. That's like we owning art. We talking about credit. We teaching people, getting our relationship straight, dealing with our mental health. And that's like his music is starting to His music is maturing with the maturity of his audience. And people are like, oh, Jay-Z's washed up. How can he's not washed up? He's still relevant solely for that reason, because his audience is still alive, still viable, and he doesn't have to go in and start over fresh. You feel what I mean? But he's not suffering from King's disease because he's not still rapping as a 44. Well, he's like 50 now, as like a 50-year-old who is trying to spit for 13, 14. You know what I'm saying? Kids that age. He's not doing that anymore. That's King's disease. Well, he doesn't have it, but I'm using their parallelism as, okay, the best rapper alive, because that's where the commonality comes in. You feel me? Wayne was saying that he was the best rapper alive, but it's different in how they said it, because when Wayne said he was the best rapper alive, I think it was like in 2007, 2008 when he affirmed that. But then it's like he kept putting in work, he kept rapping. So we can hear him rap. So we can, okay, yeah, you're the best rapper alive. And it kind of died. It really had no merit anymore. You feel what I'm saying? It had no merit for him anymore as he kept going. It's like, I'm the best. It's like, there's nothing to talk about. Like, that's not a conversation anymore. For one, because it's like, in your web, in your tower, there's nobody who's rapping like you. No, let me say that. Like, yeah, there's nobody who's rapping like you. You feel what I'm saying? So to say you're the best rapper alive with no competition, that's one of those moments that I was saying, it can feed the ego. It can feed the ego because it can start off healthy and then become unhealthy. And Wayne is a perfect example of it becoming unhealthy, because when he became the best rapper alive, when he was saying it, he had peers at the time. He had peers. Yeah, Joel Santana, Joel Santana was in the mix. Cassidy, Lloyd Banks, Jada. Well, I ain't gonna say Jada Kiss, because Jada Kiss was well above them, time wise. Yeah, so it was like, Joel's fucking. What did I say? Joel's, Banks, Cassidy. Who else? I'm trying to think of, like, people from the South and shit. Just, y'all know the era. Y'all know the pocket. But he had competition. None of those guys rap anymore. Not in that public level. Not on that level anymore. He has no competition. So when he says he's the best rapper alive, it's not like there's a challenge. Because at the time when he was saying it, Jewels was still killing the game. You feel what I'm saying? Motherfucking fucking Banks was running the game. Like, these were people that it's like, Cassidy was running the game. Like, these are the people that, like, if you hear them, it's like, oh shit, you got a challenge. That's what you're trying to beat when you claim you're the best rapper alive. And they gonna say, no, you're not. They gonna keep putting it out. But now they're all gone. No, none of them are rapping anymore in the same space Lil Wayne is. So for him to say he's the best rapper alive, it's like, that's when it becomes the disease. That's when it becomes unhealthy ego, because he's still right. He is the best rapper alive still, because we know the music is garbage, it's trash, but it's like, you're like the tallest midget now. Nobody's there to fight you. Nobody's there to challenge you. Like, you're the biggest. Like, there's nobody there to keep up in that space that you are. You feel me? Now, don't get me wrong. Like, there's probably like a fight right now as far as the best rappers and shit, like, in that. And I get Wayne is relatively young, so like we could look at Cole, Kendrick, but they're not his era. Like, they weren't even on the scene anywhere near it when Wayne was popping like that. You feel what I'm saying? So they're not in his era. But now, if we had an argument between, like, now, let's say Kendrick, Wale, Drake, and J. Cole, you feel what I'm saying? At this moment, that's a battle. Like, yo, I'm the best. No, I'm the best. I'm the best. Now, let's say 4 years from now, 5 years from now, only Wale is left. And Wale is like, I'm the best. Yeah, your peers are done. That was the competition. You know what I'm saying? So it's like King's disease does that to you. And I'm flipping it on the other side, because when Jay-Z said he was the best rapper alive, it was during his retirement. Although he didn't retire. But it was like, he didn't have to say it anymore. Like Wayne's thing was I had to keep feeding this. I got to keep feeding this. You feel what I'm saying? That I got to keep feeding this. I'm the best rapper alive. I'm gonna say I'm the best rapper alive since the best rapper retired. Then I'm gonna do a freestyle saying I'm the best rapper alive. Then I'm gonna do a song called the best rapper alive. Then every time I'm gonna say best rapper alive until they acknowledge it. Jay, on the other hand, at the end of Dirt Off Your Shoulders, he just said best rapper alive. And there was nothing else he had to do because it wasn't like we had to we was comparing him to anybody and saying, yo, it's such a like he's better than. He just hadn't thought about it. He was like, I can't knock that. I can't argue. Like there's nothing I can argue with. I can't put you up against anybody and make a declaration to say, yo, you got to do this. That's the opposite side of the king's disease. But it's when you don't develop the king's disease because it's like he stayed maturing through his time to where his audience watched the growth. His core audience wasn't like Wayne's audience was recycled and fresh from a new age. His core audience was the audience he had when he came in on Reasonable Doubt. The same motherfuckers that followed and grew along the time. So they seen who he came in with. They seen where those people are stature wise as far as levels. They seen where he still currently was. And they said, I can't argue. You're the best rapper alive. And then like when you look at like his schemes, his entendres, the way he switched his flow, the way he did, he's an artist, like he's dope. And it's like when he declared, I'm the best rapper alive, that was it. He never had to prove it to us that he was. He just had to affirm it because we already knew. All right. But I'm flipping it now because now that I set the scene for the two different dynamics of what it is, it's like a lot of people, a lot of us as men, a lot of us as black men, we get to that point. We get to that point in life. And it's a moment that can stagnate us, that can promote extreme stagnation because we don't feel like we have to grow anymore. And I'm using the black leaders as a reference for this because we get in these positions and then we stop. We fight hard to get there. And then we stop. That's what I'm saying. These leaders have power, but they all lack strength because it gets to a point where they can no longer maintain that crown. That's what the disease kicks in. You feel what I'm saying? The arrogance comes, the bad attitudes come, those things are there because it's like, I've already reached my shit. What more can I do? What more do I need to do? You feel what I'm saying? It's like I don't need, like I could stay here. Like my people are good. Like there's people that's not going anywhere because they watch Mama Truck. Then we all stopped. You feel what I'm saying? Like we all stopped at my point, and now I'm staying here because I'm still surpassed. I'm still above or exceeded where you are. Not in the sense of hierarchy or they're better than or anything like that. I mean, as far as what you're rocking with them for. You feel what I mean? And then it gets stuck. It just gets fed. It just gets continually fed, and it's like, okay, you're not doing anything with it. It's now becoming unhealthy. So then when you get the comments of I ain't fucking with these type of people because it's like ain't no growth, like you start to lose that. And that disease really kicks in. And you may have goals, you may have visions, you may have dreams that you want to achieve, but you stop because the people around you have reassured you constantly that you've achieved enough. You've done enough. Whether you know on the inside I can do more. When you tell people about it, they're like, damn, but you've already done so much. It just you've already exceeded the vision that they couldn't even see yet. But for you, it's tangible now. It's no longer in your mind's eye, but you stay there and you let the disease take over because those reassuring things, those reminding moments, those people that telling you, yeah, you could stay here, you let the disease kick in. And you don't strive to get any better. You don't think you have to get any better. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be something as far as leadership, like, you know what I'm saying, if you want a black leadership role or anything like that. This isn't anything in life. You feel me? This is one of the reasons why a lot of people can't learn from children. They got King's disease or Queen's disease, you feel me? But it's so fair conversations. So like when you hear like people, it's like, yo, people can be so stubborn to information, to learning new information because they feel that because someone is younger or because someone has never engaged with them or whatever the case may be, that they can't be taught. You feel me? They won't be taught and they won't learn. You feel me? So what they'll do is stay in a circle around motherfuckers who ain't gonna push them, who can't push them. You feel me? And it keeps them stagnant. They have no desire to do anything else because they've already quote unquote beat the game for this pocket of people and they stay there. You feel me? It's very, very reminiscent of being a big fish in a small pond. But I'm speaking solely on King's disease because this is like a theme that has come up in my life in my recent times, you know, internally and externally. So I felt it was, you know, and I'm looking at a world structure in this level on King's disease and shit like that. Like I'm watching a lot of people that were in certain positions like, yo, you suffering from it. Especially woke people, because it's like you're starting to that ego has been fed too much and it's no longer healthy feeding. Now it's gluttony. It's now becoming negative, and the secrets and the crazy things are coming out about them. You feel what I'm saying? Now, this isn't to say anything secretive or crazy came out about me. Like there's nothing to come out, but the point that I'm making with that was from my own perspective. This is the reason why I shut down my original page, the _just_c_. That's why I had to shut that down. I felt I didn't have a name for it at the time because I had to do some research. Universe had to give me shit because I was like, why am I feeling stuck knowing that I should be more? Like, what is it? You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a name for it if I couldn't break it down. So I'm actively looking for what this is. And, you know, it came up as King's disease. And I started to, now don't get me wrong, it's not an actual disease. It's a name. You feel me? It's just a name, representation of something. Feel me? So I came to terms with the fact that I had low-key been suffering from King's disease. And it wasn't even low-key, it was high-key too. And I didn't know it because, like I said, it hadn't been conceptualized for me yet. But I started to re-listen to a lot of the shit that I was saying. Because y'all know when I do these podcasts, it's like they're free-flowing and shit. So a lot of the shit is coming from my unconscious mind. A lot of the shit is coming from my unconscious, subconscious mind. So I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just going. So when certain things come out, I'm like, That's why y'all can catch me like midway through the motherfucker. And I'm like, oh, what I'm about to say is this because it's writing in me at the moment it's coming out. But you know what I'm saying? So moments like that started to get me because I started listening back to it. And I remember when I was explaining So Frail 3 and the reason why I wouldn't release the book, the reason why I wouldn't drop it. And I was like, because I feel like what next? I feel like that's layered in it. That's layered in what the reality is. And it was going back to listen to that had me wondering, you know, was it really that is because I didn't have anything to do? Or was that the development of me acknowledging King's disease? You feel me? And I'm saying that on the strength that when I sat back and thought about it, I'm actually trying to now segue into my other brands. Like, you know, building a podcast more, building Mastering the Market more, building the Hitting the Raw program more, starting to build these things more. But it was different. I wasn't, I'm going to say it like this. I was no longer a king where I was going, but I was a king where I was. With So Frail 1, So Frail 2, So Frail 3, I'm a king with that. You feel me? I mean that in the most modesty. Like when I look at that So Frail came from my original page, basically. Like that was the first place that setup happened. So And I had amassed my following. I had built a lot of my following on that platform, on that brand of, the masculine essence and putting things together and showing masculinity in its fun side. It's all like when you read Soul Frail 3, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about because I break down the different types of masculine energy, fraternal energy, paternal energy. When you read Soul Frail 3, then you go back to my page, you'll see how it's structured according to the entire series. You feel me? My process through it was I wanted people to see masculinity at all times, real masculinity from the essence. Like, you feel me? You got my emotions, you got my humor, you got every level of me. You got the fraternal energy, you got my paternal energy, you got my spousal energy, you got every type of energy that is associated with masculinity. You feel me? You saw how I was able to create the harmony between masculine and feminine. Like, I built that. I built that. And outside of like the whole, it's crazy because the whole Instagram page is an allegory. A lot of people thought I was just entertaining and being fun. No, I was breaking down masculinity in its rawest form to show you what it was. That was a part of why So Frail worked that way, because when I started to break down the pieces, and it's like, but you're like, yes, I want you to see that I'm actively showing you how to demystify masculinity. That's one of the reasons why it was hard for us to get, or one of the reasons why it's hard, because we mystify it as if it's something magical. And this is something magical that sets you apart, that makes you a fucking androgynous being who just doesn't face any problems, who's doing all these things is perfect. No, I showed you what to do and how to use the energy. You feel me? And how it works out in the different depths and the layers. I just never told you what I was doing. But now that if you're listening to this, when you go back, if you read Soul Frail 1, read Soul Frail 2, and when Soul Frail 3 comes out, if you get it and you read it, well, it's out now. But if you get it and you read it and you put everything together, just scroll down my page and you'll see exactly what I was doing. You feel me? But that gave me King's disease. I had reached the kingship level in that for me. You feel me? And when I look at it, I was in the pocket of, I go on Amazon, I go on any book review place, and my books got 5 stars. It's like, damn, I do this. You feel me? Like that the ego is being fed, right? The ego is being fed, but you don't even know that it's not being nourished anymore. You don't even know it's getting negative. It's like you stay in a cycle. I was always on that page, posting. People. Even now, it reaffirmed it. Like, just to go back into the book, because like I had logged out for a minute, and the first time I logged out, I said I'm not coming back to so. Like, that's why I did that. I knew I wasn't. I was suffering from something. I just didn't know what it was. It was King's disease, and now I'm learning that that's what hindered me. That's what kept me saying, man, push back, don't drop it yet. Because I didn't want to walk away from that, to know that now I have to go build the kingdom in the other spaces. I got to get through that and do it again. You feel what I'm saying? I was comfortable here. You feel me? That gave me the drive. Like, so that first time, that first pocket, that it was just temporary. I was still logging in, double tapping this shit. Like, you feel me? And then So Frail was written, all of that. But then it's like I got back in, and I knew it was time to write it and publish it. And I'm like, I don't want to do it anymore. It's like, well, what if I'm not done? What if I need to add something? Like, the whole shit, that the shit was finished. But it was like, I knew once I get like, and that's why I kept saying, and I could have just left at any given time, but I kept announcing, y'all, I'm gonna be gone. Y'all gonna miss me when I'm gone. And this is one of the things that let me know that this is how I know that I was feeding it from a negative perspective. For one, that I was going and declaring like, yo, I'm gonna leave, and everybody's like, no, don't go. But after coming back from this time, because I said it definitive, I said, I'm done. Like, I got to get away from this, because it's not gonna allow me to grow if I stay here. You feel me? You got to be willing to acknowledge that within yourself, because if not, you'll be suffering from King's disease. It's deeper than pride. People are like, oh, your pride won't. No. It's King's disease. It's different. I've reached the pinnacle. It ain't got shit to do with pride. I reached the pinnacle where I'm the shit. You feel me? I wear the crown. You feel me? So it's like the next time I knew to unplug. But so once I unplugged from everything, that and I really started to focus on my other pages, that's when it started to shed the light on the shit that it's like, yo, you're not a king anymore. You're not a king over here. No matter how good you are with like, you're not a king here. Now you got to build that shit over. Now you got to do it more than one time. You feel me? So it was always on some, hey y'all, uh, y'all come follow me to my other page. These are things I was doing. Y'all make sure y'all follow me on my other pages. If I want, like, I had to come to terms with the reality that this ain't for them. A lot of this next part ain't for those people. Wasn't registering as, the follower account that was going when it was going up. It was never any people from my original page. I'm like, damn, I thought y'all was gonna go with me everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I thought y'all was really gonna fuck with me like that. And it's like, I started suffering. Like King's disease was getting worse. You feel what I'm saying? Like, so as I'm telling people, and I'm like, yo, I'm leaving this page. I'm just letting y'all know. It's like, yo, y'all come follow me if y'all want to follow me. It's like, this entire thing is done. Those people, they were just a part of that. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people came over to the other pages. You feel me? It is what it is. Some people didn't, but it's the ones who didn't. I'm like, y'all were supposed to. You feel me? This is a part of me suffering from the King's disease. You feel me? So I said, all right, I'm done with the whole page. I made that one, and I said, look, if y'all want to find me, it didn't blow up. Right? So I was off of it for a good 2.5 months, maybe, focusing on building the other ones. And when I come back, it was reaffirmed. It was like, yes, you had King's disease. Because soon as I came back, DMs are full. Not a single person even thought to ask, was I alive? Like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say not a single person. Because there was a few people like, yo, I hope all is well, blah, blah, blah. Like when I went back and read. But some people were still captioning on my posts. Some people were still DMing me. Like, damn, where'd you go? I told y'all I was leaving. I told y'all I was doing this. And it's like, it fed my ego. It fed my ego. And my ego isn't being fed in these other places anymore. So it's like that King's disease made me want to stay there. Me going back was just to solely release and close the book. And I was like, So Frail 3 is done. And it's like all of it, the whole completion is done. The need for that page like that, I don't need it anymore. So Frail 3 is done. Now it's time to put the positions in the other ones. But like I said, I'm not a king in those places. Now, this isn't to say I'm not still regal. I still can't carry and use the same energy that I had when I was over there. You feel what I'm saying? But it's like the energy that I had over there and what I had developed. Like when I came back and people seeing that I posted, it's like the DMs are blowing up. Motherfuckers like, your absence was felt. Like your absence was felt. You're like, I'm like, it was just Instagram. They're like, nah, it's different. We knew you weren't here. And it was like, and we also knew you weren't coming back. Like, it's like they started to feel that. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, that can go to your head. That can go to your head. And I can admit that it went to my head. Everything was starting to, like, yeah, I got to stay here. Like, fuck moving on to do this again. You know what I'm saying? To have the thrill of doing it again. But it's like, I got to stay here. You feel me? I might miss something. I might, like, and it won't do enough but hindering my growth. And this is the part that I was going to say about, I had mentioned anchors. If I didn't, I was thinking it, and it was a while ago, but you have an anchor. Every boat has an anchor, right? But your anchor can be good and it can be bad for you. It can be good in the sense that when the waters rise, your anchor keeps your boat still. You feel me? It keeps your boat at bay. But in the same token, when the waters rise too high, the anchor's weight. The lower the anchor drops, there's no depth. Like the depth is too long and there's no bottom. Your anchor's gonna pull you underwater. It's going to pull your whole ship under the water. When you have King's disease, that's what's happening to your ship. Because you're still acknowledging I'm in a ship. My waters are rising and all of this shit. My bottom is different. I'm no longer down at that bottom anymore. I'm no longer there. As men, we get caught up in that shit real easy because it's like, I am no longer there. Hey, huddle up, broskies, because it's time to elevate. The secret to evolving masculinity is to define it, understand it, then apply it. The So Frail series defines masculinity as the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction. From this definition, I explain how masculinity is not just the hat that we wear, but it's the essence that we must exude through application. If you enjoy the So Frail conversations, why not read the books that inspire them? Visit IamJustSeen.com right now to add the So Frail series to your library to get a better understanding of what masculinity really is. I promise, after reading So Frail, you will never look at masculinity the same again. But we try to stay there, and we wonder why shit blows up catastrophically in many cases, because it's like you're not even supposed to be there, but you hang in there. Like, this is why it's like one of the scariest and most dangerous things about prison is the fact that you're the same age you are. When you go in, you're the same age. Well, when you come out, you're the same age as you are mentally when you went in. More or less. You're inside and enclosed into something, and time doesn't stand still. So this is why when the OG get out of jail and he try to take the block back, you can't, bro. These rules are different, homie. Nah, when I was like, yes, when you was like, bro, you know how much has changed? Imagine somebody who has a 30-year bid. No, I'm gonna say imagine somebody who had a 30-year bid in the 90s. Where are they at now? Imagine them trying to come like that's like that adjustment is crazy. You feel what I mean? But when you got King's disease, you don't even think you need to adjust. You feel like shit's gonna stay the same. Shit's gonna be the same. You're gonna get the same responses out of shit. And you're not. You're not. You have to transform. And in addition to King's disease, I want to go into this part. Like, even when you are crowned, you're getting different crowns in life. You feel me? This is more of like metaphorical expressions. Like you have, when you go from a prince, you have a prince's crown. When you go to a king, you get a king's crown. But your king's crown changes from time to time. You can't wear the same crown your entire reign. King's disease makes you want to wear the same crown, no matter what changes happen. No matter what things you undergo, no matter what things you go from, you stay there. Like, I wanted to be as you know, I try to be as transparent as I can on these podcasts as much as possible. But this one I really wanted to touch on because it's like I had to come to terms with the fact that I was suffering from King's disease. It's like when you're dealing with situations when you're talking to people and you can't do no wrong. You know you can, you know what I'm saying? But it's no challenge. It's no, oh nah, I don't fuck with you off rip. Not in no good or bad way, but it's just like you gotta earn that. You feel me? And a lot of times we don't look at the full picture. We just look at the end result. You feel what I'm saying? Because me, myself, like I looked at the people that were there at the end. They were there still like, yo, bro, you inspire, like, because I respected how they seen the beginning. But then along those ways, that's where the ego is fed healthily, because you have those that see the beginning. But then you have those that come into the pop. They come in when the crown is on. They come in when the kingdom is functioning. They come in with all of that. And they start to eclipse a lot of the people who came in when you just had bricks and the vision, and they saw you build and they say, yeah, you feel me? You start to lose them. Because like for everyone that was there when the kingdom was being built, you have 10 to 20 who are there just coming into the kingdom. You feel me? And a lot of this I mentioned some of this in a way in Soul Frail 3 when I talk about the tree of life, because the final level, the final sphere of the tree of life, Malkuth, the theme of it is the kingdom. You got to build that shit. So people literally see me go through the 22, like people see me go through the 22 paths in that. The 22 paths of the tree of life, from the fool all the way to the kingdom, to the elevated consciousness and everything. Now it's time to do it again. But it's like, in the moment, it's like, damn, I already got the people that are partying in the kingdom. But it's like, and I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose that. And I knew that once Soul Frail 3 was written and completed, that's gone. I can't stay there no more. I got to start over. You feel me? Whole new audiences, whole new people, whole new everything. When you suffering from King's disease, you hold on to the moments of the past. You hold on to them in such a way that it keeps you from creating the moments of the future. You dig what I mean? It's like, in logging back into this page now, I seen how I got caught up in the King's disease. Like, remembering, running back to towards the beginning when I was talking about when I was damn, what was I saying? Hold on, let me make sure I can say it right. Say it how I said it. Fuck it, I'm drawing a blank on it. But when you are dealing with it, you come to terms with the fact that we're beings who innately want to be dependable, but we have been conditioned to be dependent on. So when that King's disease hits, you're stuck there because you feel you're dependent on. It ain't you feel, you are dependent on. People, oh, I come to you for this. I come to you for this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're the go-to. That feels good. That makes the crown feel really good. Really good. You feel me? So much so, like I said, when I logged out for that 2.5 months and then I came back, still the same shit. But that gave me a different perspective. It's like, and this is no slight to anybody. This is just the way I'm thinking and the way it goes. Like, when I come back, DMs are full of, you should make a comment, you should make a caption about this. Yo, what are your thoughts on this? Yo, tell me what this means. I don't get, like, I'm trying this new thing and I don't get it. You feel me? Whole bunch of questions and questioning shit, like, or request to do something, right? Out of all of the DMs that I returned to and I looked at, it wasn't many saying, yo, bro, I haven't seen you in a long time. Are you okay? Everything straight? Now, my thing is, y'all would know where I'm at. I told y'all where I was going to be at, right? Whatever the case may be. They didn't come follow me. So I was like, all right, whatever. But I'm looking, it's like, damn, ain't nobody really check up on me. It was just, the final post that I made at the time, people would comment, damn, I was wondering why I ain't seen you in so long. Or, yo, it just ain't the same without you. I missed the post. I missed the jokes. I missed like, you miss the things, you don't miss the being, right? Connecting that, it's not on no emotional shit, but connecting that to the King's disease, it flips it. Because it makes you realize that what you're using as a crutch is an illusion. You feel what I'm saying? What you have associated yourself with, what you have bound to, is the reason why you can't move forward, or you don't want to grow, you don't want to transform or evolve to the times, is because of the pocket that you're in. And how you are in a space where everybody's like, it feeds the ego. It starts off healthily because it's like, When I run it back to like the beginning of this shit, like people was asking me questions about shit, it kept me on my toes to keep learning. Now it's like they're asking me questions I've answered 2-3 years ago. That's when it sets in. And then you realize that there's not much reciprocity to make you grow. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, what are your thoughts on this? What is that? What is that? It's like, it's cool, but it's like that feeds you because you start to become dependent on rather than understanding that you're dependable. You feel what I'm saying? Because like I said, taking this into the next phase was like, damn, don't nobody just fuck with me just because? It's like, damn, I gotta earn y'all shit? Fuck. Damn, I knew I should have pulled motherfuckers from over here. That's not the case. That's not how it has to be. That's not what it's supposed to be. You feel what I'm saying? But King's disease will limit you. It will literally make you stop. And you'll be watching a lot of the people not suffer from the King's and Queen's disease rising around you. And you're like, why am I stuck? Because you don't want to. You want to stay. You still have that regality. You know that you have that regality, but you have made it stuck to the kingdom you're currently in, rather than realizing it's your regality that builds your kingdoms. You dig what I'm saying? Your kingdoms don't make you regal. It's your regality that builds your kingdom, which means you can build another kingdom at will. But that's when I was mentioning how in So Frail I talked about power and strength. Power is the ability to define phenomena and make it act in a desired manner. Shout out to Uncle Huey Newton. You feel me? Strength is the ability to oppose resistance. You feel me? Until either the resistance stop or the strength fails. So it's the duration of how long you can endure things, basically. You know, strength to endure, right? When you get in that power, you are making phenomena act in a desired way. You feel me? Power is easy to harness and it's easy to use and it's easy to feed, but it's a quick energy. It's like a snack. Strength is different. Strength is the longevity of it all. The power is the matter of the abundance, the quantity that has to come in. Strength is a matter of the quality. You feel what I'm saying? This is not to say I didn't possess the strength with the shit that I was doing, but I was more so focused on the power than I was the strength. When the power plateaus and it's like, you feel me? Like, you feel me? Like, look at it like, this is a dope example. Like, look at it like you're lifting weights. Power is being able to, okay. Power is, you feel me, that person who can bench press 350 pounds. Like, that's their max. That's power. Strength is how many times you can hit that 350 max. You feel what I'm saying? Sometimes it's just, bam, let me get the power, keep the power going. But the power doesn't do anything for you over time. Strength does. You feel what I'm saying? King's disease focuses on power and continually maintaining power rather than developing the strength. You feel me? That's why you have, like, when you have a good king, the regal king who was for the people, it was somebody who was willing to be in that space amongst the people all the time. But then you have the motherfucker who was like powerful. The powerful kings never really fuck with the peasants. They never really fuck with the people of the kingdom. They tortured them. They did stupid shit like to them. And so that's why they couldn't wait for the moment to take them out. You feel me? That's King's disease. These are some of the things that the King's disease gives you. And it's like, as Black men, it's real easy for us to get into. You feel me? You think the Black woman is God phenomena was something? You feel me? The way it pushed Black women's, perspective up to a certain point, it's like, the Black woman is God, blah, blah, blah. It was used wrong. It was very manipulative, don't get me wrong, but in the context in which they were saying it, I get it. A lot of people were defining, so, oh, well, because she's responsible for a specific piece of creation. But here's the thing. The definition of that and how a lot of people were explaining it wasn't how they were presenting it to the black women. They were saying you are the supreme being, as in the original source. Not you came from the source, create an image or whatever the case may be, but it's like you are that. You feel me? For some, that created a fucked up quandary because it's just like, well, why can't she just snap her fingers and save the world? It's like, see how people blur the mysticism, can't tell the difference between fantasy and reality. You feel what I mean? But that ties in because you think that did something. Imagine hearing music all the fucking time. Bitch this, hold that, bitch this, hold that. Knowing that that's who you're talking about. And then suddenly, overnight almost, you start hearing your God. Start hearing God is all the time. You feel what I'm saying? That creates that level. You feel me? That creates Queen's disease, basically. It exposed it in a certain way. But that's the equivalent to what happens with us. You feel me? If you're not smart with it, if you're not careful with it. Imagine being a motherfucker this is one of the reasons why for this aspect I didn't succumb to King's disease, but like a lot of the people who, well, I was a dropout, I quit school, I did this and the third, and I was told that I was stupid all my life. I was told these things. And then I start studying and start reading and I quote unquote start dropping knowledge. And people start fucking with me because I'm dropping knowledge where once people once called me stupid. These people calling me a genius. They calling me a star. They saying I know my shit. I stay there because it starts to feed me. You feel me? The reason why I say I didn't succumb to this because I've always been in that space where I didn't have to fight for my intelligence. It was like there. So expressing it didn't get to me, but I see how it can. And that's what happens a lot of times with these leaders. They experience a dose of something they never had. You feel me? I've seen so many brothers have exploited women and just, that's the whole Hotep thing. They're like, yeah, he'll peace king you into you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it works because of that. You feel me? It works because of that. But if you've never experienced, like, I've been the ladies' man already. Like you can't just throw some pussy at me. Like I know how to get it. So it's like, you feel me? I'm not in it for that. I miss like that. There's been a lot of times when motherfucker like, yo, that completely went over your head. It didn't go over my head. I just wasn't looking for that. I knew you was trying to give me some ass. I didn't want it. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's like, yo, you got to show me something more. But those are the things that I'm tying to that help feed that shit, that feed that King's disease. And it's kind of like a king with disease. It's like nobody even cares. Like nobody even cares about the disease part. It's still a king. No, it's a disease. It's killing. Like the king is dying because of the disease. And it's just a matter before the pressure hits and they crumble. Something comes out and they fall because it's like they're staying in a way where it's like they start to lose the grips on the realities that they have to hold on to certain things. You dig what I mean? It's like, oh, I don't have to change. I can go back from that because I'm still above these people. I'm still above this position. And I'm still in the position that they've elevated me to. You feel me? Don't let people do that. That's how you get that King's disease. This is why I got podcast episodes where I'm saying, I always tell y'all this. I always say, do not deify me. Do not hold me into a different position. That's not fair to me. Because it's like, I'm not there. I mean, although I am there, I don't want that to be where I get stuck. Goes back to what I was saying about being the best versus being better in one of the last podcast episodes, right? When you're the best, that's it. When you are the best, that's it. You really will suffer from King's disease when you strive to be the best, because the best changes. The best changes. The level of the best changes. Now, it's continual when you try to be better. King's disease initiates the most because people we try to be the best. We never just simply try to be better. So when we become the best versions of ourselves or whatever it is, we can stop. It's like a goal. But when your mission is continually being better, there is no stop. You feel what I'm saying? Therefore, you're going to do what you need to do in the next paces. But when we lock in and we say the best level, King's disease is going to happen to you. Because what happens because when you set it as the best, it kind of becomes the standard. You feel me? I caught flack for this one time, but I was talking to an old head and I was like, Jordan in his prime, you feel me? That was his best. Jordan in his prime would be average today. And the motherfucker looked at me on some, you blasphemous motherfucker. I said, no, you got to think about it like this. Because I'm understanding how time works. I'm understanding how generations work. I'm understanding how things change. I said, Jordan elevated the game. He was like, Jordan, this was the thing. I was like, so what you're about to say is really going to help my argument. Because he was like, yo, Jordan elevated the game. Ain't nobody do what he do. Nobody could do what he was doing before he even got in the game. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Jordan elevated the game to the point where it's played like that now. Jordan elevated the game to the point where it's played that way now. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not denying that he wouldn't still come in and score and drop 10. But think about when Jordan was in his prime, the kids are in the game now. The kids that wanted to be like Mike, they're in the game now. The kids who I'm gonna wear 23 every time I shoot. I'm doing cross. I'm trying to do every highlight he just did. I'm practicing his level or trying to emulate his level now, 5, 6 years old. A lot of those are in the NBA now. A lot of those are in the NBA now. And some people who still train that hard didn't make it to the NBA. You know why? Because he elevated the game to the way it is played now. So his game is what everybody is templated as. So the game has to elevate again. You dig what I'm saying? However, if you stay in that mindset that Jordan is the best, he was the best in his pocket of time. You put Jordan in his prime now, it's different. It's different. You have people in the league now who can play. LeBron James himself can play 5 positions. At the time when Jordan was playing, people played their position. Dennis Rodman didn't have many points. His position and his talent, what they put him on a team for was to get rebounds and block shots. He did that shit. He didn't have to score. And he didn't care about not scoring. He got 2 points in the game. And nobody would give a fuck. Rodman didn't score, but he stopped everybody else from scoring. He got the rebounds and fed the ball. You feel what I'm saying? They played that position that they played the best. Now you have people that can play multiple positions at a time. You feel me? It's almost like a default. They can play multiple positions at a time. LeBron is the anomaly at this moment. He can play all 5. He can fucking play all 5. You know what I'm saying? And that's the shit I'm talking about. You feel me? That's the shit I'm talking about as far as how King's disease go. Kobe, rest his soul, he suffered from it. Kobe suffered from it. But I like how when Kobe overcame it, he got rewarded and the universe gave him one last hurrah before he went out. And then he's like, all right, I'm done with this. I'm done with basketball. You feel what I mean? And he was saying it like as he finished and everything, it was just like, it was like, so do you think about basketball? Do you watch? He's like, nah, I'm done. I'm writing books now. I'm done with basketball. You see what I'm saying? Some people can't get over that. Like some people, I'm going to go back and be a coach. I'm going to go back and be this. I'm going to go back and do this. Like I have to stay here some way. You feel me? Kobe left it all together. But the last hurrah, like towards the end of Kobe's career, he was beating himself up. Like his body was not working. After he tore his Achilles, it was just like, he's like, yo, but I'm still coming back. I'm still coming back. And it's just like, he wasn't the same Kobe. I mean, ideally, and then his age started happening. Kobe was getting older. It's like you're not young anymore. And then he came to terms with it and was like, I'm done. I'm done. And he got that 60-point game in his final game. He got a 60-point, went out with a banger. I was like, all right, yeah, you're really done. You feel me? And then you're able to go on to become king in something else. You dig what I'm saying? If you stay in the old kingdom, that's when King's disease hits you the most. You dig what I mean? That's when King's disease hits you the most. And it's like you grow and you reach a point where it's like you have moments of plateaus. Don't get me wrong. You have moments of plateaus, but then you can't stay at that plateau. Just because there's growth from well beyond where you were before doesn't mean that it's not going to keep hindering you. You feel me? It's just like the anchor example. The anchors work to keep your boat still. But when there's too much water, it's bringing your boat down. You feel me? And there's no way you can get out of that unless you raise the anchor or eliminate the anchor, get a longer anchor. You need a better anchor, but otherwise you'll stay there. You stay exactly where you are. And then there's no growth. Like there's no changes to your crown and shit. Like that is what I realized my personal self got caught in. And I was torn. I was torn on the strength that I knew what I needed to do. Okay, it's time to go here, go here, go here. But I knew that the shit was done. I knew that I was done with that book. With that page. I knew it, but I kept holding on. I made excuses for it. And I was like, okay, well, when I run my advertisements, since I already created this audience, I'll just use a lookalike audience based off of these people and just put specific details in it and then give it to them. Nothing was moving the way it was supposed to. You know why? Because it was the King's disease. It was stay in this space no matter what. Just figure out a way how to maneuver in this space. Like, yo, you're not supposed to be in this space anymore. It's done. It's done. You feel me? Like advertisements, different things like that. It was like everything was like I was trying to base everything off that page. And it's like when I sat back and really thought about it, I was like, I'm doing several different things. These people ain't into all of this shit. So why am I looking for all of this shit in these people? Not on no funny shit like calling y'all these people, calling them these people or whatnot like that. But I'm speaking on a grander scale of it. It's like the niche that I was going for, the pocket of shit that I was actually looking for, that's where I was supposed to be for that time. Soul Frail 3 was the start and end of that. Soul Frail 3 was the end of that, but the Soul Frail series was all of that. Like, that's done. So now I specifically created a page for Soul Frail books. I did that a long time ago, but I think I started knowing then I'm disappearing from here. Like, I'm done. Soul Frail 3, now that that's done, all I have to do to keep that book in motion is constantly post. And it's like the content is already made because I wrote the book. I just literally highlight, cut and paste, make a post, send it on, automate it. And I just do a page, a little excerpt from each book. Hashtag it, send it on, then keep the links going. Like when people say, hey, I want this book. That's what it is. Keep the shit alive. Keep it growing. Keep the shit there. Same with Mastering the Market. Same with the podcast. All of these different things, hitting it raw. All of these different things are different. You feel me? This is why I kept hearing the words like, what more can I say? When you get to a point where you're asking that, like, what more can I do here? You're too big. You're going to start suffering from King's disease soon because it's going to be like, because it will be like a certain level of people, certain many people that would just come and stay. Like there was no growing anymore. This page wasn't growing, but it was like, look at my crown. It's still shining. I don't I've done this. I've done it all. Follow me where I go if you're going to follow me. But even that, I should have just left alone because it was like, everything is different. Everything is different now. Podcast audience is different from book audience. Trading and investing audience is different from plant-based audiences. But I tried to consolidate it because of everything that I was dealing with. with my original page, I was like, man, I built this whole motherfucker up, bro. Like, I can't just. That's what you built it for, to the purpose that it served, and it served its purpose. You feel me? Don't let King's disease get you to the point where it makes you not want to grow because you have been at such a elite level ahead of time. What do you do when people catch up? You feel me? What do you do when people catch up? Watching battle rap. This just happened to Loaded Lux. I have not watched this battle, but I don't think I have to. I'm still going to, but they say Loaded Lux got 30 by Geechee Gotti. Either 30 or it was a 2-1, a clear 2-1. But they say Geechee Gotti got him. Loaded Lux is another example of King's disease. But his example is so different but it's still the same because it's like he eclipsed and jumped so far ahead of the game that it took a long time for them to catch up, which means he never had to get better. There was literally no steel to sharpen him. So much so he was able to battle like he was like an end game. How it started off. But then he came back like more consistently. It was one thing when he would come back like every 2-3 years to battle one person. That nostalgia feel was there. But he started battling consistently. And people started to see, oh, they caught up. They caught up to the game. You may have jumped far, but you never went that much further beyond that simply because nobody was in your league. Everybody's in your league now. Some of them have eclipsed you. And that battle showed the changing of the guards. Geechee he spazzed on him, but he didn't go to the level that Lux is known for going. But Lux didn't go beyond that because he was supposed to. It's like, yo, you had all of this time to better your pen, but you never really had to. His pen is still phenomenal, but he never had to sharpen it. He never had to get better. Nobody was there. You feel me? King's disease. King's disease. When you hold on to that shit, it's going to hinder your growth. And that will low-key make you self-sabotage the other shit you're supposed to go into. Because you're like, as long as I'm here, as long as I'm here, as long as I still, y'all ain't bitches and they ain't bitches and nothing like that, but as long as my bitches love me. You feel me? Non-binary. But as long as the motherfuckers that fuck with me heavy, like that's the quandary of the shit. People get caught up in finding their soul tribe. They can also find their soul trap. Whoo, bar. Oh my God. That was cold. Finding your soul tribe can eventually be your soul trap. You feel me? If you're growing as you're supposed to. You dig what I'm saying? And that, like, I wanted to talk about this because I myself, like I said, I've experienced it and I'm seeing the fact that I had to come to terms with it. But I'm seeing some of my brothers walking into the space right now. And I'm like, I want to give you the heads up. I want to give you the heads up. Because you're going into a space that is going to make you grow somewhere. And you have to always remember that you will never stop growing. Do not stop growing. Do not get comfortable with that. You feel me? One of the biggest things that saved me from that was the fact that I stayed so eclectic on my page. I started off like, as my page built, I started off so frail. Then it went to hitting it raw. Then I had people plant-based, like, oh, you do plant-based too. Led them to that. Then it went to the other cycles of other things. And as they were developing, I began to see that I'm not going to stay here. You feel me? But as those things are growing and you have those people that were walking with you, it's like you pulling them from different places. Some of the people are staying consistent around it that can fuck with you too, because you're all of my stuff. People fuck with all, like, no, don't let that get to you. You feel me? As you grow and you continue to move forward and you continue to press forward and you see these different dynamics of life, don't get comfortable. Enjoy the comfort of what you have, but don't get comfortable in those spaces because it will keep you stuck if you're not careful. Because your ego is good and it's bad. It's healthy and it's unhealthy, but it's how you feed that motherfucker. You feel what I'm saying? The very nourishment that's once good for you to develop you, it can start to become bad when you're eating the same thing, when you're eating it over and over and over again, and it becomes monotonous. There's not much growth after that. And when there's not much growth in that capacity, things change while they stay the same. And don't forget to take a moment to go get your exclusive merchandise from Just Scenes Merch. At Just Scenes, each piece is specifically crafted with positive imagery and symbolism. From the titles and designs to the descriptions, each style gives you something to feel great about. With everything from hoodies and tees to coffee mugs and tote bags, we have something for the entire family. So be sure to get yours today. Find us on Instagram at Just Scenes Merch and get your merchandise right now. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. Yeah, King's disease is a powerful thing. It's a very powerful thing. It is one of those moments where it's just like we will not transform and grow if we don't feel the need to. You feel what I mean? You get to a point where everybody says, another thing that was with King's disease is like me smoking. I'm cutting back actually, but me being a smoker in the time, like talking to certain people who seen my crown, the past, you get it one day. Don't be so hard on yourself and blah, 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 blah. It's like they were telling me certain things, but they were catering to the King's disease. Yes, people cater to the King's disease. I'm not saying that they were yes people because they were encouraging me to stop smoking, but they were just, basically telling me like it's not that big of a deal. You feel what I'm saying? You'll do it when you get done doing it. You'll stop when you stop. But then when you realize a new crown is coming, you start meeting people who are different. You feel me? You meet people who tell you the real. They're like, yo, you need to stop that shit, bro. Like this, that, and they keep telling you, they keep on you. It ain't no, oh, you know what? It's like yo, what you doing? How many you smoke? What you like? That becomes a different aspect. You feel me? King's disease will really fuck you up if you allow it, if you don't identify it, because it feels good. It feels good as fuck. I can't lie. I can't lie. You feel me? It feels good as fuck because you're thinking, okay, this is it. But it just comes a time when you realize I'm not growing anymore. Like this isn't this trajectory ain't going up anymore. It's staying the same. You feel me? This next phase of life is about putting on a new crown. I'm learning that now. Like all of this shit has to be different. The approaches have to be different. Everything has to be aligned differently. I can't do it the way I did it the other one. That one was that one, and it gave me everything it was supposed to give me. You feel what I'm saying? So things have to change. And for my brothers, like if you going through, like I said, it can be anything. You feel me? It could be a job. You feel me? You're not, I don't need to move up. I don't need to promote. I don't need to get a new job. I don't need to transfer, move careers or whatever. I'm comfortable because I am where I am. Are you hindering your growth? Like being comfortable is cool. That's where you want to stay there. But if you know deep down that you're supposed to be growing more, if you know that there's supposed to be more that you're supposed to be doing and shit, if you know that, don't let King's disease get you. You feel me? Don't let it get you. Because the moment that shit takes root and your ego start being fed, it starts to taste real good and you stay there. And you really have no reason, no rhyme, no rhythm to get out of it until universe start telling you, hey, look, man, look, you here too long, bro. Give it up. Let it go. Like move on. It's time. And then the very things that once hyped you and what's got you are the very things that start to diminish you, start to bring you down. And you know what I mean? It's like, and you be thinking it's bringing you down. It's not bringing you down. It's keeping you stuck. You're not growing. You're not dropping. You're here. You're just so used to that upward trajectory and projection that you don't decide to stop. You feel me? So Don't let King's disease beat you. You feel me? Now, this isn't to say overanalyze. I think everything is King's disease. You'll start to know when you become the big fish in a small pond. You know, heavy is the head that wears the crown, but it becomes like when the crown becomes heavy, just it's time to use a new crown. Because that means the burdens and the things that you're like, you've out. I'm gonna flip it a little bit. Heavy is the head that wears the crown because the crown is too tight. It's too small. Your head got big. Mm. Play on words. Double layer for ego. But your head got too big. Swole up. Now the crown is too tight. That's why the head gets heavy. You get hydrocephalus and shit. A waterhead ass. But nah, your shit swell up. But yeah. Address it. When you feel yourself in those spaces where you know when you're in those spaces because it's no longer a modesty through confidence. You know you arrogant. Like you the shit, right? And that becomes the arrogance because you have nothing to prove anymore. You have nothing to strive towards to prove. You don't give a fuck anymore. Realistically, you just don't give a fuck. And that right there is what happens when the King's disease hits you. You don't decide like, yo, I'm the best. I'm here. Ain't nobody fuck with me. This what it is. So you're gonna have to keep staying in that pocket, which means that there's gonna be a revolving door. Relationships are gonna change. Relationships aren't gonna develop properly. Like, you know what I mean? Because that it's different. It becomes different. So, yeah, I really just want to talk about King's disease today. I think it fit the theme of a lot of the recent podcasts that we were talking about, and this is something that's been on me. Like, and like I said, I just logged back in to my other page, and that's when it hit me for real. Like, you know how you know something is something, but you just don't know what it is. It's like, let me see what it really is. And lo and behold, it was King's disease. It's like, damn, I fed off that shit. I fed off the fact that motherfuckers was, you know, it's like, yo, the DMs was so full. Like, that shit was shocking to me because it brought me to reality. I've been gone for this long, and all y'all can do is ask me what the fuck I can do for y'all. You feel me? You feed off that, especially when you're a naturally giving person. You feel me? Oh, it hit my entire, like, King's disease happens because it caters to your entire being. This is how you don't even know it's a disease. This is how you don't even know that it's wrong. It's doing damage to you. You feel me? I'm naturally a learner. I'm a scholar. I'm a teacher. I give this information. I do shit like this. But it becomes that thin line where it's like, what? When do you stop? Oh no, I can't stop because this is part of my purpose. It's part of my plan. It's part of purposes change. Purposes can change. Is it still your purpose when the purpose has been served? Not even your purpose, let alone, is it still a purpose when the purpose has been served? You feel what I'm saying? Once the purpose is served, why do you still have purpose in it? That means it's time to do something else. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like a part of that was a part of purpose. Like, there's people that was going through this, people going through that, and it's like, yo, you posted this, blah, blah. What I was supposed to do with that, I've done. You feel what I'm saying? There's probably something right now that you have done, like you served your purpose with it, but you don't know what else, like you don't know what the next level of the purpose is. Sometimes there is no next level of the purpose. There's just a whole different purpose to do. And it requires you to do something different. You dig what I mean? It requires you to do something different, something that you probably never done before. You feel me? And I'm able to address that and see this now is because I'm there. Like, the purpose that I used for the Just Seen page originally, I can't use that purpose here. That page was solely to give words. Read the captions, everything, because I was big on reading, which is why books came out of that one. You feel what I'm saying? Books came out of that one. 4 books came out of that. But this template was already set. Now this is different. My next moves are different. You feel me? My podcast promotion, like building the audiences up for my podcast, that's a little different because it's like they're listeners. I have to get people who listen to shit, not people who read shit. That defeats the purpose. You feel me? Again, another thing that really got like, as I'm talking to some of the people from like, I'm like, yo, you guys really are not supposed to be in that next phase. It's like, I was like, I miss reading your captions. I was like, my captions just turned into podcast episodes. So it's like, in one vein, in the previous era, it was, I got to focus on people who actually read, but there was abundance of people who didn't. So it's like getting my captions read was like, okay, cool, served a purpose. Now it's like, I'm still in that space of the captions work. They do for that. This next phase, like captions ain't gonna do you no good. Motherfuckers gotta see shit. You feel me? They gotta hear shit. Like whatever it is that you're tying into, you gotta appeal to that. You feel me? And you can't bring old ways into new places. Just can't. You gonna fuck shit up. You feel me? But I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. Like, my brothers, if you on your entrepreneur shit or you on whatever shit you on and you at King's and you starting to feel in that, do a periodic check. I say don't do it every day. I say every 3, 4, maybe 5 months, maybe 6. 6 months will be ideal because cycle to cycle, new moon to full moon. You feel me? Shit works like that. So check in with yourself and say, am I suffering from King's disease right now? With whatever I'm doing. When you start getting stuck, I talk about the hangman path in So Frail 3. When you start getting stuck, ask yourself, is this King's disease? Am I stuck because I really can't? Or am I stuck because I won't? You feel me? Get to that root. And then the more you're able to acknowledge it, the better your growth is. It's not going to be linear still. You're going to have your plateaus, but you're going to know when the plateau is done. You're going to know when you're no longer supposed to be on a plateau because you can identify, oh shit, I've been here too long. This shit's getting too comfortable. Motherfuckers love my throne. It keeps like, you got to leave the throne sometimes. Sometimes you got to leave the throne for good because there's no coming back to it. But yeah, man, go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And let's become aware of this now so we can teach our sons, nephews, and the youth like a lot earlier how to overcome this, because a lot of this shit is keeping them stuck in pockets of time. And So Frail, I talked about the old boy complex. This is a part of King's disease. You feel what I'm saying? They find that moment when they rain and they're like motherfucker, like, why are you still? Because for a lot of people, high school was the highlight of their life. That was the number one highlight of their life. You have prom, you have all this shit. The second highlight is college. After that, you don't get many highlights after that. So people get stuck in the loop between the ages of 18 to 25. Go figure. Tying it back into the beginning of how all of this shit connects, because when you look at the audiences for the musics and shit, like high school, college, 18 to 25. Well, no, not 18, 14 to 25. Because you got your high school pocket, that 4 years, and then you have, college pocket. 22 is really college pocket, but 25 is because that's when you finally get out of your internship. You start to get like that little pocket of time. That's when you start to mature. But see why it's like they keep funneling certain artists, certain rappers to listen to certain shit, and why it keeps it in that pocket. Because those are the 2 most pivotal, memorable moments of your life. And they are largely going to dictate who the fuck you remain if you're not careful. If you became the jock, the ladies' man, or whatever the case may be in high school, and you felt that, that's a level of energy you're going to carry on forever without maturing. You feel what I mean? Because you get King's disease with it. You don't have to change, so you stay in that shit. Motherfuckers wonder why, like, why do I keep fucking with the same type of relationship, same type? Because of the pocket you're stuck in as you suffer from King's disease. You feel what I'm saying? Thick chicks was cool. Like, they still bad. I ain't even gonna hold you. I still love a thick chick, but I started having thick chicks when I was in high school. You feel me? So by the time, you know what I'm saying, like, it really wasn't a thing for me. Like, when I first got to college and shit, motherfuckers was on something, yo, I'm gonna have a girl in different dorms and blah, 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 blah. I was like, I'm gonna have them all. Oh, you're just starting. I'm actually gonna start looking for a girlfriend. That's my challenge. I want a one woman. I want to do monogamy. Like I've already done all of the shit y'all just did. You feel what I'm saying? But that comes with the level of the disease. Where do you stay? Motherfuckers be like, yo, I'm gonna stay in my shit until I like 30, 40 years old. Now it's time, like, because King's disease is finally hitting them, where it's like, damn, I'm stuck. I keep having same meaningless relationships, blah, blah, blah. And if we teach our kids how to spot this and identify early, that shit changes. They don't fall victim to the King's disease. They're able to identify, yo, I'm stuck. It's time to grow. Either you're going to grow with me, you know what I mean? The moment you try to hold on and keep that shit stuck, that's when it's going to stay there and you're going to stay there. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there because I said I was. Go kiss your babies. Make sure to eat their vegetables. I'm going to see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.